Zunächst mal möchte ich mit dem Dank beginnen an Präsident von Rompuy, dass wir erneut hier sein dürfen und dass wir über die Abläufe der Preisverleihung in Aachen miteinander sprechen können, die Antragung ganz offiziell heute vornehmen konnten. Und Sie wissen, dass der Karlspreis am 29. Mai in Aachen verliehen wird. Der internationale Karlspreis ist der älteste und bekannteste Preis, in dem es um den Dienst an der europäischen Einigung geht. Und für uns ist eine große Ehre, dass Herr von Rompuy in diesem Jahr den Preis bekommen und annehmen wird. Und es eröffnet die Möglichkeit, die wir in Aachen so gerne geben, als Plattform zu dienen, um europäische Themen zu diskutieren. Ich darf das Wort weitergeben an den Vorsitzenden des Karlspreisdirektoriums, Herr Dr. Linden.
Ich kann unmittelbar anschließen und vielleicht noch rein informativ sagen, dass die Entscheidung des Karlspreisdirektoriums einstimmig war und dass wir natürlich auch im Direktorium seit Jahren die europäische Krise um die nationalen Budgets und den Euro verfolgen und das auch in der Vergangenheit mehrfach in den Mittelpunkt gestellt haben. Diese Alltagsarbeit, aber auch zugleich diese, ich sage es ganz bewusst, auch visionäre Arbeit, die haben wir beim Präsidenten des Europäischen Rates wiedergefunden und auch den Optimismus, den er versprüht, die Entschiedenheit, mit der er zu Werke geht. Gleichzeitig aber auch seine Bodenständigkeit und das Vermögen, im einen oder anderen Fall auch Kompromisse einzugehen. Das hat uns überzeugt, weil wir glauben, dass wir auch den Bürgern klar machen müssen, Europa fällt nicht wie das Manna vom Himmel, sondern Europa ist eine Aufgabe, die sich Tag für Tag neu stellt. Und diese Aufgabe braucht auch Arbeiter, die dafür eintreten.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm very grateful that this prize was awarded to me. I never could imagine that I would receive one day this prize, because my master in politics and leermeester is Leo Tindemans, who received the prize in 1976. I was at that time member of his cabinet. I was very young at that time. I'm still young, but even younger at that time. And this was considered as really a highlight in his career, and I consider it also as a highlight in my career. And the Charlemagne Prize, as he said in English, is for me really something very, very, very special. I refused, and that we convened among us, some kind of personal laudatio. And that's why we together invited the prime ministers of Ukraine, of Georgia and of Moldova to speak and let's say to make a laudatio of the European Union and their strong relationship they want to have and they already have with the European Union. And it comes at the end of my European career, and I consider this as also as a, let's say, a recognition of the collective work we did in the European Union to overcome the Eurozone crisis. Because I fully agree with what the Chancellor said a few years ago, that the end of the Eurozone would have been also the end of the European Union. This is something I never forget, and when the Euro scheitert and then also the Union would scheiter. This is very true, but we overcome the crisis and we are there yet, and now we can look to the future with more confidence. We know there are a lot of problems ahead. My successor has a lot of work to do, but we did our job. We did our job, we survived, we saved the Euro and the Eurozone, and now we can build upon this to deepen and to strengthen further not only the economic and monetary union, but also our political union.
Mr. President, you've been for a long time a great enthusiast of the European idea. And of course, when you come to Aachen, it's not difficult to find a lot of people who think the same. But especially in Germany, I would say among young people, it's difficult to find an enthusiasm for Europe. How are you going to use this prize and maybe the whole ceremony as a platform to promote this idea and to gain some more enthusiasm?
So we have to show to young people, and we can't show it today already, that the European policies will produce results also in terms of jobs, in terms of prosperity. It could be that it's a little bit too soon now to show this, but we are on the right track. We overcame the Eurozone crisis, growth is coming back, and after growth, employment will come back. So we have to convince people by our results, European leaders with European convictions, have to stand up for their opinion. Because people, they are listening to, most of the time, to Euro-negative, Euro-skeptical messages. And I know that among the leaders, and not only the prime ministers, but also political leaders, leaders of socio-economic corporations and so on, there are a lot of people still with very pro-European ideas. I simplify now a little bit. And they are not speaking loudly about their convictions. So there is no answer to all the doubts and the fears. And I will encourage them to speak loudly. And the European elections are already a good occasion to start with it. Because if there is no answer, then it's easy to believe the Euro negatives and even those who are opposed to the European idea. My last point is, although there are doubts about the European project, few people want to go back to the situation before 1958. Almost no people wants to go back. I can imagine that we go back to the customs duties. Can you imagine this? That we have again frontiers, that we have again borders.
I cannot imagine, I never...
No, my question was rhetoric. Rhetoric. You don't expect an answer. And if you expect an answer, it is yes, you can't expect it. Thank you for your answer. Even in most of the countries, I know there are groups and some parties who are in favor of it, but most of our countries can't imagine that we go back to the Belgian franc, the Dutch guilder, the French franc, the Spanish peseta, and so on. I know some are defending a return to the Deutschmark, but the overwhelming majority, even in Greece, they want to keep the euro. So if there are doubts on the European project, you have to nuance. Almost nobody wants to go back to the situation before the European community and before the European Union. So my conclusion is that it's much more European awareness, much more European conviction than most people think. If you confront people with the alternative of Europe, they say no. They say no. That does not mean that they are agreeing with all what's happening at the national level and at the level of the Eurozone. But nobody wants to go back to the previous situation. Nobody wants to go back to Charlemagne.